Physical Education Practice Test, Unit 8, Biomechanics and Sports. Biomechanics helps in blank. A. Treating injuries to sports persons. B. Improving performance of athletes. C. Increasing friction between the athlete and the ground surface. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. It refers to the study of human movements, including the interaction between the athlete's sports equipment and the exercise environment. A. Kinesiology. B. Physical education. C. Biomechanics. D. Sports education. D. Sports education. Which of the following is not a type of movement related to physical activity? A. Extension. B. Adduction. C. Abduction. D. None of this. D. None of this. Blank takes place when the angle between two bones attached to a joint blank. A. Flexion increases. B. Extension decreases. C. Abduction increases. D. Extension increases. D. Extension increases. Understanding of proper sports and exercise movements will allow the participants to be more blank for long-term development. A. Efficient. B. Technically sound. C. Prone to good habits. D. All of this. D. All of this. Which Newton's law of motion deals with acceleration? A. First. B. Second. D. Third. D. None of the B. Second. This type of movement takes place when the angle decreases between the two bones attached to a joint. A. Adduction. B. Abduction. C. Extension. D. Flexion. D. Flexion. Name the movement in which the angle decreases between the two bones attached to a joint. A. Adduction. B. Flexion. C. Abduction. D. Extension. B. Flexion. Blank is a movement laterally towards the middle of the body. A. Abduction. B. Adduction. C. Extension. D. Flexion. B. Adduction. Blank means moving the body parts away from an imaginary center line that is the axis. A. Adduction. B. Abduction. C. Extension. D. External rotation. B. Abduction. This is a rotatory movement around the longitudinal axis of a bone away from the midline of the body. A. External rotation. B. Internal rotation. C. Outward rotation. D. Both A and C. D. Both A and C. It involves the sequential combination of flexion, adduction, extension, and abduction at the joint. A. Internal rotation. B. External rotation. C. Circumduction. D. None of the above. C. Circumduction. Newton's first law is also known as A. Law of inertia, B. Balance of linear momentum, C. Law of attraction, D. None of the above. A. Law of inertia. Plump take place when the angle between the two bones attached to a joint increases. A. Flexion, B. Extension, C. Adduction, D. None of the above. B. Extension. Newton's second law of motion can be applied in the sports like A. Baseball, B. Swimming, C. Football, D. Both A and C. D. Both A and C. As per the Newton's third law of motion, to every action there is a blank and equal reaction. A. Equal, B. Unequal, C. Multiple time, D. Double. A. Equal. In basketball, which of the following law of motion is implemented? A. First, B. Second, D. Third, D. Fourth. C. Third. Coaches should make use of the method of blank biomechanics analysis in their everyday practice to produce changes in the technique used by their student. A. Quantitative, B. Qualitative, C. Effective, D. None of the above. B. Qualitative. Biomechanics is a branch of A. Biology, B. Kinesiology, C. Science, D. Physics. D. Physics. Biomechanics can play a crucial role in blank. A. Injury prevention, B. Performance enhancement, C. Physical movement, D. Both A and B. D. Both A and B.